Tucked away in the Staffordshire town of Cheadle stands a church so richly detailed, so passionately designed, that it has earned a nickname which still feels entirely deserved today: Pugin's Gem. This is St Giles Catholic Church, and despite its modest size, it is widely regarded as one of the finest Gothic Revival churches in Britain. Some would even say it is the purest expression of one man's vision, the architect, designer, and reformer, Augustus Welby Northmore Pugin. As we approach the church, it's immediately clear that this is no ordinary Victorian building. Every line, every colour, every carved detail has purpose, because Pugin believed that architecture should express faith, truth, and honesty in materials. To him, Gothic architecture wasn't just a style, it was a moral language. The story of St Giles begins in the 1840s, a time when Catholic worship in England was re-emerging after centuries of restriction. At the heart of this revival was John Talbot, the 16th Earl of Shrewsbury, one of the wealthiest Catholic patrons in the country and a close friend of Pugin. Together, they set out to create something extraordinary, a church that would demonstrate how Catholic architecture should be done. Construction began in 1841, and from the very start, Pugin was involved in every aspect of the design. Not just the walls and windows, but the furniture, the fittings, the metalwork, the tiles, and even the smallest decorative motifs. This was total design, decades before the idea became fashionable. From the outside, the church is built in warm, local stone, its Gothic form rising confidently from the town. The tower is elegant rather than overpowering, and the windows hint at the explosion of colour waiting inside. Pugin believed churches should feel welcoming, not austere, and St Giles invites you in rather than intimidating you. Stepping inside, the impact is immediate and unforgettable. Colour floods the space. Deep blues, rich reds, golds and greens combine to create an interior that feels alive with meaning. This is Victorian Gothic at its most confident, unapologetic and joyful. Where many churches favour restraint, St Giles embraces decoration as an act of devotion. Look closely and you'll see that nothing here is random. The encaustic floor tiles, many designed by Pugin himself, carry symbolic patterns that guide the eye towards the altar. The painted stonework reinforces the structure of the building rather than hiding it, a key principle for Pugin, who believed that construction should always be honest and visible. The high altar is the focal point of the church, richly carved and crowned with a striking reredos. Pugin insisted that the altar must dominate the space, reflecting its central role in Catholic worship. Above and around it, painted decoration and gilding draw the eye upward, reinforcing the sense of sacred hierarchy. The stained glass is another highlight. Light pours through jewel-like windows, filling the church with shifting color throughout the day. Many of the windows depict saints, biblical scenes, and symbolic imagery, all chosen to educate as well as inspire. Pugin believed churches should teach the faith visually, especially in an age when many worshippers could not read. Even the pulpit, font, and choir stalls were designed to fit seamlessly into the overall vision. This is not a church where elements were added over time in clashing styles. Instead, St Giles feels unified, as though it sprang fully formed from a single idea, and that idea was deeply personal. Pugin was not simply designing a building, he was making a statement about faith, society, and the role of craftsmanship. He rejected mass production, favoring skilled artisans and traditional methods. Many of the craftsmen who worked here shared his belief that beauty and faith were inseparable. Despite its splendor, St. Giles is not a cathedral or a grand abbey. It is a parish church, built for the people of Cheadle, and that is part of its magic. Pugin believed that ordinary communities deserved extraordinary buildings, and this church embodies that conviction perfectly. The nickname Pugin's Gem reflects not just its beauty, but its completeness. Of all the churches Pugin designed, this is often considered the one where his ideas were realized most fully. Tragically, Pugin's life was short and troubled, and he died in 1852 at just 40 years old. Yet here, in Cheadle, his vision endures in stone, glass, and colour. Today, St. Giles remains an active place of worship, carefully maintained and cherished. It has been described as a treasury of Victorian art, and it continues to attract visitors from around the world, architects, historians, and travellers alike, all drawn by its extraordinary atmosphere. As you take a final look around, it's worth remembering that this church was built during a time of great change and uncertainty, yet it stands as a confident declaration of faith and beauty. Pugin once said that there should be no features about a building which are not necessary for convenience, construction, or propriety. At St. Giles, every feature earns its place. In a quiet corner of Staffordshire, Pugin created something timeless, a church that doesn't just tell history, but embodies it. And that is why, more than 180 years later, St. Giles's Church in Cheadle still shines as Pugin's gem.